and welcome back to my channel. It is so good to be back on YouTube. I've missed it so much. I've basically been on kind of a hiatus ever since this past September because I've been completing my senior year at Mass Art, which is awesome, but I've also been hella busy. But now I can finally say, I'm a graduate! So that's really freaking cool. Now here I am trying to catch you guys up with everything that I've been doing, especially this past semester. The illustration department at Mass Art is a little unique in that they have their thesis only fall semester instead of the whole year. We got our thesis done this past fall, and then this spring we have portfolio, which is literally you getting your shit together and becoming a more professional artist. This is when you create your logo, your business cards, your resume, your website, literally everything that you are possibly going to need as a professional working artist. It is also the time where you get to do as much personal work as you can in a semester of artwork that targets whatever market of illustration that you are most interested in. So if you are a comic book artist, or if you like children's book illustrations or concept art, whatever, you get a whole semester to just push all that stuff in. And then at the very end, we have our senior review days, which senior portfolio review for illustration was honestly so great. We went into this room with like 50 different professionals of various markets of illustration. So we had people from children's book publishing, we had freelancers, there were people from animation and concept art, or excuse me, animation and gaming kind of things. We basically had people from everywhere. So you could actually talk to working professionals, say hi, show them your portfolio, and get critiques on what you specifically need to do to get into that market. And it's also great because you're making connections, you're networking. It's honestly the best thing ever. And then at the very end, it's evening. We all set up our tables, kind of like artist alley, like at a convention. It's when pretty much the whole illustration department kind of celebrates its seniors, and lots of Mass Art students and other people come around and you give them your postcards, they look through your portfolio, and it's just this really incredible night. And I'm so glad that I got to experience that. It was just such a joy. So now here I am, one semester later with all this stuff. Now I get to finally show it to you all, because I remember being a freshman and being like, I don't know where I need to be when I graduate, and I don't know if I'm gonna get there in 4 years, and I don't know what being professional looks like and all that other crap. I don't know, might be inspiring for you guys. Also, it's just me trying to make up for the fact that I've been gone for so many months. I'm trying to just justify whatever. So without further ado, here I am. I'm gonna show you every single thing that I've created this past semester, more or less. So here is my lovely portfolio, my beautiful baby that I've been working on for so long. Let me talk to you a little bit about just the hardware, the basics, why I picked the thing that I picked, this expensive, beautiful art piece. This is a Pina Zangaroo. It has a screw post binding, I think that's what it's called, which I thought was really nice because a lot of these other portfolios, like, you're limited to how many sheets you can put in. With this one, I can literally change the screw post so I can make it smaller or bigger. I can put 1,000 sheets in here, or I could just put in 2. I don't know why I would want to do either of those things, but in theory, I could. Also, when you open up the portfolio, there's no gap in between the left and the right hand pages, which is really nice for doing landscapes because I can just make one full spread, which is really nice because then I don't have to have the portfolio reviewer or anyone have to like shift and move the thing, trying to find like which way is the top. They can just open it up and see the full landscape like a book. And I chose this kind of frosted acetate plastic, whatever it is, cover because there were really only 3 options. You could either get black, white, or this, and that was like across all brands. And obviously I wasn't gonna pick black because it didn't fit my brand, it didn't fit my color scheme. It would have been way too strong. And I considered doing white, but I didn't like the idea that my portfolio looked identical to everyone else's at first glance. Like if I were to just chuck my portfolio into a giant pile along with all the other seniors, we would have to go through flipping through pages. There's no personality to it. So with this one, you get a little tay-tay for what's gonna be inside because it's got my logo on it. It has obviously my information right there, so it's very obvious this is mine. Enough about the hardware, enough about the things. Let's take a look on what's inside, shall we? So right here is the cover page. Some people did just like right off the bat an illustration. Some people did their logo and then like a picture of themselves. Some people saved that for the end. Right here, I just have my logo and then I have a little bit of information at the bottom. BianaBova.com, BianaBova@gmail.com, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, and Etsy at Biana Bova. So no matter what, my information is there. They cannot miss it. And then it opens up to this spread. See what I mean? How nice it is having that like little invisible seam right there. It's real good. The reason I picked this as my first illustration was for a few reasons. One, I really liked how it's a spread, so it's kind of dominating on the page and it's just kind of like, look at me. I feel like it's a really strong piece. It suits my children's book kind of leanings. It shows off my color, it shows off my line work, and most importantly, it had a story to tell. When I was chatting with the reviewers, it's always a touch awkward at first because you have to figure out how to kind of get the conversation rolling. And this was my baby, because literally every single person was like, oh, what's going on in this picture? And I could tell them, hey, this was inspired by the time when I was 13 years old. I led my friends into the woods at night and we got hopelessly lost, and by the time we got back, there were cops called, and it was just this horrible thing. So I get to tell them that story, and then they get to laugh about it as they're flipping through the pages. Overall, I just kind of thought that this was a nice, strong way to start. And then I kept the pace going with these next couple of pages. This was an assignment we had to do. We just had to create a poster. So I decided to do something talking about climate change. And then this illustration, I was having kind of warm, fuzzy feelings about being at home because I was on winter break and I was exhausted from thesis. Moving on. I have these two personal pieces. This image though, everyone seems, this is like their favorite image. I don't know why. I kind of understand why, but regardless. So I have a couple personal pieces here. Then I get to this spread. I really liked how these two kind of fit together because of the colors and the like younger children's book kind of vibe that they had. And I was especially critical of where things were in relation on the page. I wanted the spreads to look nice, and you'll notice that theme continue. Continuing more into personal work, I tried to keep my series together. So this is the start of my Monster Blob series. I don't know what you want to call it. I still don't really have a name for these little guys. But it leads into this next spread quite nicely. So I've got these other personal works, and it just felt good. Another thing to note, and this is something that my professor told me, is to have the slightly stronger image on the right. Because we, as citizens of the world, we tend to just look at this page first. It's better if it's on that side. And then that goes into this spread. This was a piece that I did last semester in the fall, and then I updated this semester and it looks a trillion times better. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. Sometimes it's good to go back to old works. And then this starts my Colombia series. I went to Colombia for about 10 days this past January with my boyfriend and his family. We had the most amazing time, and it wasn't like touristy kind of situation. It really felt like a full cultural immersion. This was in Cartagena, and this was in Bogota. I had the best time, you guys. This also was in Bogota. These are wind chimes made out of pottery clay. And we were in this one tiny little store, like nothing special about it, but they had all these wind chimes just hanging from the ceiling, and it was so intense. And I loved it so much. It was so magical, and it was just this little store. Colombia as a whole, it's like everything was so special, and that's just the norm. And then this, I think this is the last one of the series. This was inspired by one of the moments that I had when I was in Colombia. I've been learning Spanish, but I'm super reluctant to use it, and I'm not very good at it still. So when we were down there, my Spanish was really short. Like all my sentences were about like 3 words, and I said it quietly. Like I just didn't want to come off as a gringa to every single person I saw. But I love ice cream to death. So we were ordering ice cream this one day, and they had all these beautiful kind of like popsicle style ice cream things. And the one and only time the entire trip that I said a long, clear, correct, confident sentence was ordering my ice cream. And then the last part of this portfolio is my thesis. So most of you guys have seen these images before. I pulled my favorite, strongest images from that series, and I wanted to finish it off strong. So I did this, and I was able to talk about that project and talking about, you know, my favorite thing, children's book illustration. And then finally, we come to the end. I just felt like I wanted to end it on like a high note, you know, like thank you for looking, thank you and remember me and all that good stuff. This illustration I did for Thesis, I thought it worked really well as kind of like a yay kind of ending. It's not my strongest piece, I don't think, but I feel like it has a lot of really good qualities and it just kind of has the energy that I want people to remember me by. And then this thank you, not only is it, I don't know, polite, but also it's included in my envelopes, which I will show you in just a bit. So once we talked to the portfolio reviewers, we had to kind of say thanks to them because they were literally giving us their time. So we gave them these envelopes. And the envelopes are full of tons of goodies and things. This is also kind of our way of networking and having them remember us in case we had a really, really good connection and they want to work with us in the future. So my people got these, God, freaking gorgeous tealish, turquoise-ish envelopes. I freaking love them. And this was what I had inside. We have a business card, which I will show you some other stuff with that later. We have not one, not two, but 3 square postcards. 2 of the pieces didn't make the cut in my portfolio, but I really, really like them and I think they're cute and damn it, they're going to see them. Then I have 3 postcards with the pieces that, some of my strongest pieces in my portfolio. I also had a little thank you and I also have my resume. So this is like half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It's got my info. It's got my work experience, education, skills, client work, yada, yada, yada. So business cards. I ended up getting this neato business card holder. Every time I use it, I get to use the same stupid joke and it makes me really happy every single time. So Moo has this kind of like, Moo, by the way, is a printing company. Moo has this thing where like they have the Moo size business cards. So I needed something that fit that, which was this. And look at this. Pick a card, any card. I love it so much. I feel like a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, like cha-cha-cha. Anyway, so I ended up with 5 different designs for my business card that I am obsessed with and I think look really, really cool. So this way, whenever I show a client or something, and I already have, they get to pick whatever design they like the most, and that just makes it more fun and more memorable or whatever. And then they all on the back look very, very similar to my actual portfolio. It's just my logo, Biana Bova, my email, my website, and then my social media handles. And lastly, because it's portfolio review night and everyone's having fun, I also have these buttons, which I absolutely love. So yeah, that was all of my stuff. I can't tell you guys how many feelings I have. I was about to name one, but there are so many feelings I have with graduation. And not that anyone cares for that ramble, but I am really proud of everything that I accomplished and the stuff that I made. And for any of you guys wondering, a lot of the stuff is going to be sold on my Etsy, which will reopen in less than a week, most likely less than a week. And you will see information about that pop up all over my Instagram and my YouTube and my Tumblr, which by the way is all Biana Bova if you want to catch me on various other platforms. But yeah, this is where I am right now. This following summer, I'm going to be more on YouTube and connecting with you guys. I've got a lot of stuff in my head, lessons and tutorials that I really want to get out of my system, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. So have an awesome day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!